So I brought up the scenario of exchanging cash for gold because your community doesn't like gold. I need gold because I want to build a technotopia. You need weed because you want to live in, I guess, Rasta land or whatever. And so I send you a shitload of money, and now you have a shitload of money, and you could find a way to buy weed with it very easily, right? Ultimately, what happened here was that we saved time. The process of actually taking a third-party abstract idea, not third-party, I'm sorry, an abstract idea, and giving it a particular, I guess, and grounding it in reality. There's an abstract idea that we call value, right? Value is something that exists in common between everything that would otherwise be bartered. As opposed to saying that a shovel is a shoveler and a chicken is a chickener, they both have something in common in that they both have value in the ability to produce, the ability to achieve ends, the ability to do what you want to do. So the fact that we notice that between everything that exists, there's something called value. We write that down, we make a system where we could actually exchange value per se, value in itself, via a monetary system. And that system would actually work perfectly, because what it does is it saves everyone's time, and what's more valuable to anyone's life than time, right? I mean, what's more like, there's two ways that you could extend your life. You could either live to 200, or you could waste 50% less time throughout your life. Either way, you actually end up living to 200 or living twice as long. So what happens with the exchange of time, exchange of value, is that oftentimes other people get involved. Other people want to take control of this third thing, this abstract notion of what's called value. And those things are called governments, and those things are called banks, the Federal Reserve. The ability for me and Jeff to contract each other's services, Jeff is a good bassist, and I'm good at, I guess, shooting people, whatever. The ability for me and Jeff to hire one another is based off of our ability to reliably make agreements with one another. So long as we could actually make an agreement with one another to do whatever we need to do, both of our ends are accomplished, and value increases. Jeff needs me to take, I shouldn't have used that example, to hunt deer. Someone. Yeah, it's fine. To kill someone that wants to kill him and his family, an evil rapist, Yeah, so I provide that useful service to Jeff, and Jeff, plays bass.
Serenades do with bass.
Yeah, and plays for my wife, and my wife is very happy, and I get lucky that night, And so we both have more valuable experiences due to the fact that we did this mutual exchange. That's freedom. Freedom is the ability to do exchange with whoever the hell you want. Slavery is the inability to exchange your services, your time, exchange with whoever the hell you want. Slavery is when there's a third-party influence that prevents you from interchanging with other people, or hampers your ability, suppresses your ability to interchange with other people. Slavery could be seen as, like taxation. The ability for the government to create a basis tax, so that now Jeff has to charge everyone a lot more because bases are taxed by the government specifically, makes Jeff gives Jeff a much harder time surviving in the system. And that's called tyranny. So now, as opposed to Jeff just doing this free exchange with me through the use of a common currency, a lowest common denominator currency, Jeff has to work twice as hard due to this third-party influence, in Washington, D.C., or the Federal Reserve, that's making Jeff's life, a pain in the ass to exist because of the agenda of the federal government or of the Federal Reserve to have a monopoly on bases, to destroy, the bass from the, I guess, world of music, because they don't like bass for some reason. So the existence of money is what facilitates interdependent exchange between two people. The degree by which a third party is involved has to be involved. The degree in which this exchange between me and Jeff must involve a third party that determines anything, that causes any sort of a change in my ability to exchange with Jeff freely, is tyranny. The degree by which that exists is the degree of tyranny that exists in the system. So the problem with the world, the problem with slavery and all that, is because there is always more third-party intervention than is necessary. as institutions prop up, institutions are collectivistic in themselves. They often, as institutions are, like realize, they build these towers, they start gathering members and followers, and these followers come in and they worship the institution, or they climb up the institution, whatever. They become collectivist because that's what an institution is. And so institutions will then create collectivist systems, because if you're raised through an institution, you're going to expect the world to be very much like an institution. So once you go out into the free world, you're going to kind of want it to be comfortable like an institution. It's like it's like those African tribe in Africa where like they were able to fight off like the Dutch that enslaved like half of them, and then what did they do? Like 10 years later, they enslaved the half of them that were enslaved before, because they were familiar with the system of slavery. They didn't know anything else. So I'm kind of getting off track here. 4 minutes.
Cool.
But the way we solve this problem is by getting rid of third-party intervention in free trade. The degree that third-party intervention exists in the system is a degree of tyranny, slavery, badness, and it's also the degree of basically time wasted and everything. The fact that everybody in the United States has to pay a federal income tax, literally 5 months out of your whole entire year, 100% of your earnings, for 5 freaking months out of your whole entire year goes to the Federal Reserve. If it wasn't for the fact that the Federal Reserve is this fraud that through the media has convinced us that they're all perfectly normal and everything's acceptable, we would all live 5 months longer, because we'd all have 5 months more free time. You could actually have 5 months of just no work, free time, if it wasn't for the Federal Reserve taking that money and sending it to the bond makers. This is what we need to target. We don't want some machine intervening in our ability to exchange because it will do so more wisely or more smart in order to increase efficiency. We want to reduce the overwhelming amount of inefficiency that actually exists. Like the things that we can easily target, the things that everyone basically is already opposed to, like the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, this is essentially what progress is. Cutting out the inefficiency.
Mm-hmm. Saving time. Because everyone has more time, and everyone has the ability to make more progress in fulfilling their independent destinies, doing whatever they want to do themselves. And if everyone had more time, everyone would be more available to solve each other's problems. There'd be a lot more free interchange. You'd have more industry. You'd have more happiness. You'd have less war. That's the whole entire purpose.
I can sidetrack on the efficiency thing.
Go on.
All right. This is a little bit, I guess, you'll have to read the activist orientation guide a few times to pick this out. But Fresco's basic idea on how to eliminate value, or so he says, it's not a solid argument, but this is what he says, is that if there's an abundance of something, basically enough to where everyone can be satisfied, the almost infinite abundance, then something will be worthless, or I say have no value. Fresco says have no value. I'd say it's worth something. But anyway, that's pretty much his idea, is to create abundance. But at the same time, he's talking about, the most efficient usage of things, of technology, of resources, efficient use of, most intelligent use of resources.
The dome is the most efficient use of space.
Bullshit. But anyway, you can't, these two ideas, the, elimination of scarcity with abundance and efficient uses of resources are, they completely contradict each other. If you have so much of something that it's worthless, then obviously you've got a lot more than you need. All right, that's called waste. Waste is what Fresco complains about. This is what he's talking about getting rid of. And yet, at the same time, he's talking about eliminating scarcity by making so much of something that it's fucking worthless. That's stupid. All right, I got that one.
We have 2 more minutes. Actually,
let's do another one.
Okay. Coming up next, Guns and Barns.